Hunky and Spunky because I haven't done that in a while, and I really adore them. Hunky and Spunky is a series of theatrical cartoons that Fleischer Studios did very late in their existence before they were subsumed into Paramount. I mean, subsumed entirely into Paramount, and the Fleischers themselves were removed. They were in the late 30s, early 40s, and there's some freakish voice acting and design decisions, and I think they're quite fun. So let's watch one of those, shall we? Hunky and Spunky.
You're heading for the place you love the best. Keep a-going to the hills of Colorado in the west, where there's stillness in the trees and there's music in the breeze. When you're roaming in the gloaming, you'll find no better place to have your home in, where the mountains rising high look like blue clouds in the sky. Keep a-going, keep a-going. Just what I wanted. Keep a-going, keep a-going. You'll find no better place to have your home in, where the mountains rising high look like the clouds in the sky. Keep a-going, keep a-going.
Hunky and Spunky. Yes, Hunky is the parent and Spunky is the child. The quality of that transfer is like just barely good enough to get a sense of how just ridiculously beautiful it must have been on the original film in a theater. I can't believe it. And there were 7, I think, of those shorts. That was the first one, actually, from 1938. I just looked it up. And there were 7 of them, and I don't know if a better transfer than that exists anywhere. And I think that some of them maybe are just lost forever. I don't know. I want to find these things. I would go to considerable length to see that, like, in a theater on film. Considerable. Somebody in the chat was talking about how interesting it is seeing them use their ears as hands in the acting, I love that. I just watched a chunk of The Jungle Book because I just got a TV VCR all-in-one unit for free off of Craigslist, and it's one of my only VHS tapes. But there's the passage with the elephants in The Jungle Book. They're really like using their trunks as hands in this kind of, I don't know, it takes that seriously as an idea way more than you'd expect. I really it was cool to see. Now, that was 1938. Since we're in the 1930s, let's watch one of these bizarre car commercial cartoons. This is from 1936. It's called A Coach for Cinderella, presented by Chevrolet. There's a ton of these on archive.org. Pretty goofy. Whoops. So imagine seeing this on a big theatrical screen. Also, here you go.
Here's a theme that never grows cold, always dear to young and old, the sweetest story ever told, A Coach for Cinderella.
her courtly bow because she has no coach at all. No coach at all? No coach at all. To make her happiness complete, we'll make a gown of silvery strand with crystal slippers for her feet and the finest coach in all the land. Are you with me, men? Yes! Go! Yes! Be off, my men!
I suppose you've heard about that hussy, Mrs. Webb Spider.
No, but I'm listening.
Well, far be it from me to gossip, but it seems that only last night, Mr. Webb Spider... No. Yes.
Stop, Tony, you're tickling!
The seeds fly in to test the air that lies within a coach for Cinderella.
Heads up down there.
The bluebirds fly in circles wide, weaving their way from side to side, forming the drapes that help provide the gown for Cinderella. from another day. Now we present in full array the coach for Cinderella, the coach for Cinderella.
Now that's a jam handy picture. Who knew how much animal cruelty went into a single automobile? Okay, more commercials, I think.
This is new STP motor oil. You might say it's like the Ace Fighter Squadron because it fights engine enemies. Where? Heat. Cold. Sludge. STP motor oil fights battle after battle for 15,000 miles between oil changes. 15,000 miles of protection. That's extra protection. New STP motor oil. It keeps on fighting for 15,000 miles.
Δυο φορές περισσότερη ασφάλεια με το ελαστικό Michelin X. Δυο φορές περισσότερη άνεση με το ελαστικό Michelin X. Δυο φορές περισσότερα χιλιόμετρα με το ελαστικό Michelin X.
Der Esso-Kundendienst ist groß. Betankt, bedient, adieu und los. Froh fährt man durch den grünen Wald. Da, Räuber aus dem Hinterhalt. Man tankte Esso, welch ein Segen. Ist schneller als der Kugelregen.
Esso hat's in sich.
Esso hat's in sich.
Esso hat's in sich. Potz und Blitz.
Doch dieser sieht den Räuberstreich und ruft die weißen Mäuse gleich. Die Polizei, die setzt alsdann mit Esso-Kraft zum Blitzstart an. Den Räubern hilft des Weges Enge, doch Esso schafft die steilsten Hänge. Esso hat's in sich, Esso hat's in sich, Esso hat's in sich, siehste wohl.
Esso hat's in sich.
Esso hat's in sich.
Esso hat's in sich, bitte sehr.
Esso Benzin, leistungsstark und wirtschaftlich. Esso Extra, extra klopffest und energiereich. Esso Diesel, zündwillig und ergiebig. An der Esso-Station werden Sie gut bedient.
Okay. Okay. So I've been getting very into hardware and cables and whatnot. I just got this TV VCR thing, and I'm all theorizing about playing with video collage on VHS. I think I could do some cool stuff with that. But and I got to looking into video synthesizers, which So video synthesizers are, I guess there's a lot of different things that they can be, but the kind that I'm interested in, they take in a source via RCA cables and modulate it in some sort of way, like a noise synthesizer, and then output it. So I was reading about that. I don't know if this is actually going to be a thing that I pursue in any way or just learn about, but I was reading about that, and then I learned about this thing called Scanimate or Scanimation, which was this sort of proto-computer animation technology invented in 1969 or so that was pretty ubiquitous, especially in like TV commercials and bumpers throughout the 70s. It's basically it has the appearance of like raster-based computer imagery, but it's, as far as I understand it, all of the processes are just like analog, right? Like it's basically just doing synthesizing in a very complicated way with different images. If you are not familiar with the technique, you may have seen this from Star Wars. That little thing is this little scene here is produced with Scanimate, and it's obviously even then it's not looping correctly. Even then, it's sort of using this imagination, this imaginative picture of like what actual CG animation can do. So anyway, I there's not a lot to show of this stuff that I have found, but I want to sort of play for you a couple of short things, explaining this technique a little bit and showing some things that have been done with it. It's interesting to me. So here you go.
Within just the past few years, we've all been amazed at some of the things that computers can do, to the point we've begun to wonder if there's anything they can't do. For instance, we might not be aware of it, but we're all watching more computer-generated television these days. Lee Harrison III of Denver was and still is a pioneer in the development of computers that can create animation. Channel 9's Mike Landis has a report on the animated computer.
It all started in 1960 at an attic in Bluebell, Pennsylvania, with some glass tubes, color-coded wires, some 2x4s, and the imagination of Lee Harrison and his associates. This was the beginning of the Computer Image Corporation, and it was a rather unlikely one at that. The employees didn't get a paycheck. In fact, they contributed $5 each month to buy parts. The animation itself was simple, even crude. I don't see any 2x4s on this one. This is a little different.
This is. And you notice we have many, many inputs here, and
Lee Harrison moved to Denver in 1965 and built his second computer, Animac, 2 years later. It was far more sophisticated than the first, and it utilized a unique electrical harness worn on the body and attached to the computer. When the person wearing the harness moved, the animated character moved. Mr. Noise was one of the first characters created with Animac. Mr. Noise not only danced, but his lips were synchronized with the sound.
Jingles and jangles, oh how I adore all that noise, marvelous noise.
Mr. Noise and the other animated characters that could be produced with Animac were far too abstract for an audience accustomed to Mickey Mouse. But clients did like the special graphic effects. So in 1968, Lee and his associates built Scanimate. In 1972, Lee won a national Emmy for the development of Scanimate. He says it's difficult to watch television without seeing something produced on one of the world's 8 Scanimate machines.
people would certainly recognize probably the Pepto-Bismol commercials and some of those wild openings on Monday Night Football that we've seen over the years. Things like that were done on Scanimate.
I think the red can hold the greater contrast, but this were not quite as dark. Okay. Scanimate,
You still have your gold background up? Can you get the gold background up?
While we were at Computer Image, a client from Chicago wanted to animate their logo, the letter M. Instead of the hundreds of drawings it might have taken for animators to do it by hand, Scanimate used this simple black and white high contrast artwork called a codolith.
Right now I'm just taking section 1 of the 5 that are up there and rotating it around its central axis point.
Go ahead and lay that down.
Right.
All right.
But Lee still wanted a computer that could duplicate the movement of a cartoon character, and Scanimate, although good enough to win an Emmy, just wasn't it. So in 1969, Lee and his team of video engineers designed Caesar, and according to Lee, animating with an electrical harness became a thing of the past.
Starting frame, ending frame. Whoops. Beg your pardon. I think I goofed up. Let's try that again.
Today, Scanimate and Caesar are often electronically tied together to create animation. Animator Dave Holman sets up 2 keyframes, punches a button, and the computer does all the tedious work in between.
And there we go. 4 seconds worth of animation. You can't do animation that fast.
And the future? A new computer animation machine called System 4 that combines the best of Scanimate and Caesar and does even more. It'll be ready for use this summer. But for all this wondrous equipment and new technology, Lee claims we've only just begun to understand the potential of computer animation.
Have you tried to imagine what the world would be like if all of a sudden today, all of us for the first time were given vocal cords to speak with so that we could communicate this way? Well, I think we're in the process of being given some servant of the visual imagination that will allow us to communicate in a very marvelous and exciting way.
Pretty corny rapping on that. That one doesn't quite explain what is unique about it from the 21st century perspective. There's a couple other longer things that I'm not going to play. There's in particular this fairly recent little Vice documentary on YouTube that's mostly an interview with this guy Dave Sieg, S-I-E-G, who lives incidentally in Asheville, North Carolina, where I'm from, where my family lives, and also where Robert Moog, the inventor of the synthesizer, lived. And so this guy, Dave Sieg, owns and maintains the last functional Scanimate machine, and he makes a really interesting case for like what is unique and beautiful and powerful about analog technology like that, and analog technology just as a philosophical premise or whatever, compared to digital stuff. I don't know. Much to think about. I live in New York now, that is correct. A couple more things. Here's a short demo reel of various, I guess they're mostly like logos and TV bumpers made using Scanimate. So you can get an idea of what it's like. And if you can, I don't know if you can see this or if I don't know. See if you can sort of understand the quality of the motion and changing shapes as being like it feels analog in a way. Like it doesn't. It feels fundamentally different from later computer-y animation. You know, I don't really know how to articulate this stuff, and I don't fully technically understand it, of course. So here's a little demo reel.
This is the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite.
If you pick up your phone this weekend, for only 22 cents or less, you can dial any other state in the U.S. except Alaska or Hawaii. That's all it costs to call another state with our new weekend rate when you dial direct from your home or office. 22 cents or less for the first minute, only 16 cents or less for each additional minute. So go ahead, spend a few moments with your family or friends. Dial and save while weekend rates apply.
Super duper sounds on the super duper survey, and here's Bobby Sloppy, the galvanized candy bar. Sing it, baby, Biggie, if you can't cut the grass and give her for the lawn. Hey,
KCFM Stereo 94, your island of beautiful music in a sea of noise.
One more very short thing to sort of that's about like animating characters in particular, and then I have a little excerpt from one of Dave Sieg's documentary DVDs about this that maybe I'll play later, but I don't want to get too sucked into this right now. Here's, but it's just very cool, and it looks like not like anything else. And I think a lot about like artifacts of various creative and reproduction or display technologies, and how every single process, every single creative or reproductive process has artifacts and limitations inherent to it. And we seem to have this attitude that like the elimination of those artifacts technologically or however leads to a more perfect or pure art, but there is only ever the artifacts, right? There's nothing underneath. There's no purity underneath it, right? I think about that when I look at this old stuff that's so from our perspective so clearly defined by so pushing the boundaries and so clearly defined by its limitations. Okay, this is a 2-minute long thing about Hanna-Barbera using this technology to animate characters in the 1970s.
friendly ghost with the lantern.
Ghost?
That's wonderful.
Do you now? You see it now? You don't, Big Pap.
What's that?
You'll see.
Take it, Daphne. Take what?
I'll get it.
How did that happen?
All right, which one of you's been practicing a new trick and not telling anyone?
What's the matter?
This is your last warning.
Leave at once.
I don't believe it.
Seeing is believing for me, buddy. Bye.
Well, ain't that pretty wild? It is very much like Flash. People are saying in the chat. It's just, I guess, vector animation, right? It's firmly the same thing. Like you have various elements and you move them not step by step, but in a direction over a course of time smoothly, right? Clutch Cargo. Scooby-Doo sucks. The first and last Scooby-Doo I will ever show on this program. Well, I got too sucked into that and now I don't know what I'm playing next. Here you go. From 1963, director Ivan Aksenchuk. Check your watch.
Нет минут. Тревога. Тревога!
Что за тревога? В чем причина? Исчезли несколько минут.
Немедленно надо их найти нам.
Беда! А ну как не найду?
Не заблудились ли? Едва ли. Кошмар! Куда же они пропали? Бегу искать. Я за сестрой.
Назад. Сейчас же встаньте в строй. Приказ минутам. По сигналу вам всем лететь во весь опор, искать. Во что бы то ни стало, найти сестер. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, старт!
Искать задача нелегка. Найдем! Найдем! Наверняка! Пока я очень беспокоюсь.
Отставить. Продолжайте поиск.
Стоит проблема перед всеми. Как с пользой сэкономить время? Не торопясь обсудим метод. Как сберегать минуты впредь? Вопрос настолько важен этот, что времени нечем жалеть.
Спасите нас! Сюда! Друзья! Мы тонем! Погибаем зря! Погибли.
Погибли. А болтун здоров. Имеет должность, стаж и опыт, и в ливне бесполезных слов минуты дорогие топит. Да, я. Докладывайте, что там?
Минут загублено без счета.
Не разберу, в чем тут беда.
Вглядитесь пристальней сюда.
Что создано народом в год, пьянчуга портит за минуту. Плохой конец лентяев ждет. Жизнь обойдется с ними круто.
Ага, сигнал. Еще один.
Настройтесь. Четче. Поглядим. Минута, что людям так дорога, убита, растоптана, смята. У нашего времени нет врага опаснее бюрократа. Всем, кто мешает народным делам, не скрыться в тиши в сторонке, не засорит омерзительный хлам наших часов шестеренки. Великой программы любая строка нас вверх поднимает круто, и четко работает на века сегодняшняя минута. Минута, и город в пустыне встает, и новое море родится, и к дальним планетам уходит в полет с земли краснозвездная птица. Десятки домов новоселам даны, все нужное для уюта. Дорога из ткани длиной до луны.
Вот что такое минута!
Творит наш народ, могучий велик, дела небывалой красы. Товарищи, дорог нам каждый миг. Проверьте ваши часы.
Hello? Hello? So I figured out using the soundboard that I used for this stream and various cables that I already had, because I just accumulate cables. I figured out how to record video and audio from separate sources onto a VHS in this TV VCR unit. So, for instance, I can record video from my bootleg SNES and audio from the soundboard, which audio could be composed of the audio from the SNES and the audio from another thing, say a mic. This makes me theorize a like 90s era, like pre-internet VHS based let's play video game world, right? It would be trivial to do that using like the technology at the time. Wouldn't that be goofy? So many people are playing video games on the internet and talking over them now, but they could have been doing it all this time. Yeah, I'm going to record stuff onto VHS and do something with them. I don't know. I think it's just a cool, I can like pipe things, audio and video through it and modulate it in interesting ways. I don't know. I'm going to play one more short thing and then we'll do a break and then we will do a break and then a longer thing that I know very little about. Can you feed the VHS back online near live? Probably easier to just do like a video capture or something. I don't know. Well, basically, I'll see what technology I accumulate basically for free over the coming years, and then something will emerge. This is I have played this before in like maybe the second Ambiguity program almost a year ago. It's called Furies. The director is Sarah Petty, 1976. That's pretty cool. Ain't that cool? I'm going to put on the music mix for about 10 minutes, and then when we return, I would like to play this Soviet film that's 40-some minutes long from 1970 called Bluebird. I have not watched the whole thing. I don't know. I love the way it looks, and it's very strange, but I don't know what to tell you. What else to tell you about it, and the... But it does have subtitles. I managed to find subtitles. Would I describe that animation as Art Deco? It definitely is riffing on Art Deco shapes and all, right? Too new to be Art Deco though. Okay, listen to a couple songs. Here you go. Talk to you later. 10 minutes.
Has been closeted inside the Marquee Tools pop-out palette. The single key shortcuts, if you got used to those in Photoshop 3, are much the same. M for Marquee, for example, L for Lasso. There have been a few changes. T now selects the Type tool, P selects the Pen tool, which is moved back into the palette, and Y, which must have been the only letter left, is used for the Pencil tool. Speaking of changes that are going to take some getting used to, let's see, with the Marquee tool, when you make a selection and you want to add to it, you still the command key or control key as it used to be. It's now the option or alt key. Subtract. Notice that each of the tools has a context-sensitive menu that pops out. If you press the mouse, if you hold down the control key on the Macintosh or use the right mouse button on Windows and depress the mouse button, you'll get a menu of choices that pertains particularly to that tool.
At the moment, things look...
You look peculiar. You're upside down.
No, you're the one that's upside down.
No, you're upside down.
No, I'm not. He's the one that's upside down, isn't he?
Well, let's toss for it.
All right.
Okay. You lose. He's the one that's really upside down. You better come into my frame of reference now.
Hello. Hey. How you doing? Thank you for supporting the program Wittgenstein's Mr. I appreciate it. The thing I'm going to play now is about 50 minutes long. It is entitled The Bluebird. It's an adaptation of a play from 1908 by a Belgian writer. The film itself is from 1970. The director is Vasily Livanov, who's an animator who is apparently best known, according to Wikipedia, for starring as Sherlock Holmes in the Soviet TV series Sherlock Holmes. I have not watched the entire thing. It looks like it does a whole bunch of different aesthetic things. It looks very cool. We'll see how it goes. 50. This will be the remainder of the program. Take your seats, everyone. Take your seats, everyone. I'll type the name and director in the chat. I'll see you soon. This is Bluebird, or The Bluebird.
Не трогайте его! Он же голодный.
Я с него шкуру спущу. Отойди, а то и тебе влетит.
Возьмите, пожалуйста. Этого хватит?
Ты хочешь, чтобы у тебя была синяя птица? Возьми ее. Возьми ее. Она твоя. Я тебе ее подарила.
Запомни, мой мальчик, у тебя в руках бесценное сокровище. Синяя птица, синяя птица, синяя птица. Синюю птицу нельзя купить или продать. Ее можно только подарить. Только подарить. Только подарить.
Тебе нельзя, понимаешь? Если хочешь, подожди меня здесь.
А что ты там делал, мама?
Я положила цветы на их могилу.
А я помню дедушку. Он любил играть на скрипке. А бабушка, она мне всегда рассказывала сказки.
А я их совсем не помню. Мам, а зачем они умерли?
Спокойной ночи.
Спокойной ночи, мамочка.
Спокойной ночи, мама. Ты спишь, а ты? Я хочу открыть тебе один секрет. Только никому не говори.
Смотри, мама забыла выключить лампу.
А я сейчас выключу.
Ой, она все равно горит. Что это?
Не знаю. Пойдем посмотрим.
Что? Ну что?
Что? Ничего не слышно.
Не клюва. И не птицы.
Бабушка, дедушка. Значит, они живые. Бабушка, дедушка, значит, вы на самом деле не умерли?
Что ты говоришь? Нет, ты только послушай, что он говорит. Употребляет какие-то непонятные выражения. Умерли. Что это такое? Что это такое? Что, какое-нибудь новое слово? А? Какая-нибудь модная выдумка?
Дедушка, бабушка, как ты вырос.
вырос, поздоровел. А кто эта девочка? Кто эта девочка? Неужели это наша внучка?
Да, это наша внучка. Когда мы расстались, она была совсем крошка. Крошка была.
А как на меня похожа?
Это твоя фантазия. Она на меня похожа.
Да?
Да.
Братец, с кем ты там разговариваешь?
Разве ты не видишь? С дедушкой и с бабушкой.
Здесь никого нет. Здесь одни старые вещи. И совсем темно. А бабушка с дедушкой давно умерли.
Вот ты всегда так, ты...
Не сердись на сестру. Она не может нас увидеть. Ведь мы оживаем только в воспоминаниях. А она нас не помнит. Она нас не помнит.
Я все маме скажу. Обещал показать синюю птицу, а сам обманываешь. Вот.
А где моя синяя птица?
Скажи мне, а зачем ты держишь синюю птицу в клетке?
Потому что она моя.
Твоя?
Да.
Нет, ты ошибаешься. Синяя птица принадлежит всем. Всем, кто добр, честен и смел. Она должна свободно летать над землей.
Но ее подарили мне. И я счастлив.
А как же ты можешь чувствовать себя счастливым, когда другие несчастны?
А если я ее отпущу, я тоже буду несчастным.
Кто знает, кто знает.
Когда бережешь счастье только для себя, его легко потерять. Ты поверь нам, мы прожили долгую жизнь.
Да уж, поверь нам, мы прожили долгую жизнь.
Мой маленький друг, я люблю тебя. И тебя я люблю. И тебя я люблю. И тебя.
мне монету. Она моя. Моя монета. Фу. Я доволен. Я доволен. Я доволен. Теперь я желаю осчастливить вас своим обществом. Вы будете моими гостями.
Мы не можем, мы ищем синюю птицу.
Синюю птицу? Но ведь я тоже ищу синюю птицу.
А зачем она вам нужна?
Сейчас узнаете. Прошу.
Что это?
Это моя война. Две самые большие издохли. Но сейчас я выращиваю третью, а генералы, которых я себе купил, советуют мне накормить мою малютку синей птицей. И обещают, что тогда она сделается невиданно огромной и завоюет мне весь мир. 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 Но я нигде не могу купить эту проклятую синюю птицу.
Мне страшно. Хочу домой.
Сейчас. Я накормлю тебя сладостями, и ты обо всем забудешь.
Но синяя птица.
Глупости. Если я не могу достать себе эту птицу за деньги, то вам ее и подавно не найти. И не возражайте мне, не возражайте. А то для вашего же блага я применю насилие. Когда я ем, я глух и нем.
Не бери. Ни в коем случае ничего не бери с этого стола. Иначе ты никогда не найдешь синюю птицу. Синюю птицу. Синюю птицу.
Проголодались. Нате, поешьте хлеба.
Ой, сладкий. Я никогда не ела ничего вкуснее этого хлеба. И я.
Ночь задумала совершить черное дело. Это она послала своего верного слугу кота украсть у вас синюю птицу. Синюю птицу. Синюю птицу. Сегодня до восхода солнца ночь хочет продать синюю птицу толстому богачу. Если этому не помешать, богач бросит синюю птицу в пасть войне, пасть войне, пасть войне, и на земле случится непоправимая беда. Спешите, спешите, спешите. С вами пойдут огонь, вода, хлеб. Все они старинные спутники человека и будут верно служить вам. Прощайте. Прощайте. Прощайте.
Спеши, человек. Мы все пойдем за тобой, потому что ты несешь свет.
Mm-hmm.
Она должна свободно летать над землей.
Bluebird. What? What? The sound got out of alignment on my end at the end of that. But you get the gist. A lot of really wild stuff in that. A lot of very show-offy visual inventiveness, huh? 1970. Can you imagine? a thing could look like that in 1970. Yes. Join the Discord, reminds us Glorious Hubris in the chat. If you want to hang out and talk to these fine folks. I guess I'm about done with this. Y'all are the first y'all are the first people I have talked to all day. And I have appreciated doing it. Thank you for coming. Next week, something. Next week, something. Have a good night.
You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Left foot. You put your left foot